Arsenal for me is it's a fairy tale story for me. Then I played the first game and scored. I played the Saturday and scored the hat-trick. Bang, you know what I mean? The wheels were rolling. I was on my way. And
it was not only Wright's goals, but his raw passion that earned him a unique response from the Arsenal faithful.
Wright was such an extrovert. You know, he was in your face all the time that you couldn't avoid him. And he was funny and he was good.
Wright's there!
I'm sure a lot of people became fans of Ian Wright who'd never been fans of a black footballer before.
He had an improvisation about him that was very, very difficult to mark him and contain him. And he was always very vocal, and you know, he's a physical lad as well.
Ian Wright, some more pushing and shoving in there.
Because of his style and his aggression, Wright used to scare people, and I don't know how Wright scares anyone. Because he's just the most... I mean, please, look at Wrighty, little skinny Wrighty. He can't fight anybody. But when he used to terrorise centre-halves, goalkeepers, everybody was afraid of Wrighty.
Oh, Wright goes clattering into Mims there, and the goalkeeper none too pleased about that.
playing against him is frightening because he scores goals that nobody else can.
Wright was Mr. Angry.
Ian Wright, oh, he's split, goodness me.
Righty would want to try and fight us all. And he used to make me laugh because he used to look at all of us, 6 foot all of us. Yet Wright would be at the front there, looking ready to have a fight with us all. Come on, Fash.
Catching sight of 3 Wimbledon players behind him, he took it upon himself to deal with Scott Fitzgerald personally.
Because back in the old days, they used to say that's how you get to them. You know, you wind them up and then, you know, you won't see them anymore. You give them a kick and they'll hide and they'll shirk. Whereas that's the worst thing you could do to Wrighty.
Ian Wright, oh, and a little bit of a tantrum between Palmer and Wright there.
The best thing to do to Wrighty is just to talk to him nicely and say what a nice guy he is. And then you won't see the best of Ian Wright. You try and wind Wrighty up and that's when you see the best of him.
Wright's there! It's Wright for Arsenal!
And unfortunately for the opposition, that's what they used to try and do.
And Ian Wright, some more pushing and shoving in there.
Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Yes, you can.
In the 90s, as black street culture became mainstream youth culture, Wright, talented, self-confident, vocal, was an ad man's dream.
Can I kick it?
You have got a rise in the iconic footballer, you know, Ian Wright, as this kind of brash South London kid that spoke his mind, that loved his football, that came up the hard way, personifying the rags to riches fable.
He celebrated a goal as if, he just won the lottery. Some of the celebrations that you see today are based on him.
Arsenal take the lead, and it's Ian Wright.
But Wright's upfront aggression was no marketing ploy. In December 1996, he infamously clashed with Peter Schmeichel, after which he alleged that the Manchester United keeper had racially abused him.
There's been a bit of history between Wright and Schmeichel. Wright's being led away.
It was an embarrassing furore for a game that had pledged to rid itself of racism 3 years earlier.
A new campaign has been launched to stamp out racism on the football terraces.
A central spokesman for the campaign had been Wimbledon and former England player John Fashanu.
But I don't want my daughter listening to that. I don't want my father or I don't want my mother listening to that sort of abuse, or any of my personal friends.
The campaign had been supported by the entire football establishment, and off the field, clubs were encouraged to monitor more closely those whom they admitted. But the issue had still not made a real impact until 1995 and one of the most extraordinary events ever seen in the Premiership.
It's very ironic that it takes a white Frenchman to bring home the issue of racism to the nation.
Temperatures rising, and out comes the red card. There's the morning headline.
As he left the field, French player Eric Cantona was racially abused by a member of the crowd.
That frustration, that pain, that hurt that Eric Cantona felt, you tell me a black player that hasn't felt the same way.
Oh, Cantona's getting involved with some supporters.
Cantona
probably hadn't experienced that sort of abuse of a xenophobic nature. Whereas the black players had become conditioned to being called black bastards and you nigger and you coon and all the other epithets.
Oh, this is outrageous.
Don't condone what he done. However, rest assured that there's, one or two people that says, hey, I'll tell you what, that person who said what he said, he got what he deserved.
Well played, Everett. Well played, my son. That is something that I've wanted to do for years.
It's all got wildly out of hand.
But if we all jumped over the railings, there would be no matches.
The Manchester United kit man trying to pull him away.
Eric Cantona has behaved bad and has been an awful role model.
But one or two supporters have come down the gangways to the front.
They didn't say this guy who ran all the way down and went every other week and was abusing black people. Why was this guy still being allowed to go and do that every week?
If that, right, was a black player that jumped in that crowd, mate, he would not have continued to play at the level he played. Hung, drawn, quartered, William Wallace business. Tore out his inside.
Up goes Linegan. Offside.
Certainly it seemed that there was one law for white players and another for black.
Oh, there's a punch thrown there by Ian Wright.
I was walking off a pitch at Oldham, guy spat in my face, I spat back in his face. I was the one who got charged with it, but at the same time people say, you know what I mean, you're professional, you shouldn't be spitting. I'm a human being, he shouldn't be spitting, of course I shouldn't be spitting, but if he spat in mine, I spit back in his.
Being hauled before the FA on charges arising from video evidence is something all top players now have to live with. Players like Ian Wright more than most.
Going into FA, like disciplinary hearings, they used to have it like a court. So I used to send messages saying, I cannot believe how big his head is, him on the right. And then David Davis would open it and then carry on like normal. And those are the things I used to do because I never used to take it seriously. Because all it was the media whipping it up so that I'd have to go up there.
We're happy with the hearing.
And then you come out and you say, yeah, I've been very fairly dealt with by the FA. Hopefully, this won't happen again and I can now get on with my career. Then you'll be back down there next month. And then you say it again. I've been very fairly dealt with by the FA. Hopefully, I could just get on with my career now. And you'll be down again, but so what? Because at the end of the day now, people look back, people don't talk about that. People come to me and talk about goals.
And he slipped it in. Ian Wright's onside. Is this the moment for Ian Wright? Yeah!
100 years after Arthur Wharton played in goal for Preston North End, Ian Wright broke the Arsenal scoring record with his 180th goal. But where Wharton was an oddity, Wright was a role model. Where Wharton was required to conform, Wright was encouraged to confront.
Whether it be at Crystal Palace or at Arsenal, his teammates bought into Wrighty. So he opened doors just based on his personality and what he did on the field of play as well.
I was lucky enough to have him at West Ham for just over a season. And the moment he walked in the dressing room, he was bubbly, he was, he's cocky, he's brash, he's a fantastic player, great goal scorer. Everybody loves him.
He's through here. Goal! And it's Ian Wright.
Playing with him has been a real high point in my career because Ian brings out the best in everybody around him. And he did that certainly with the West Ham team and certainly myself.
Every kid in London when he played for Arsenal wanted to be, regardless if they were black or white.
Goal! 1-0!
Wright is more of an inspiration for black youths in England than I am because I haven't come from where they've come from. They can look at me, but I think that Wrighty is the #1 urban black role model.
Wright's there! Goal!
If I have to describe myself and Ian, once again, this is very tongue-in-cheek, I like to describe us as Martin Luther King.
I still have a dream this afternoon.
And Wrighty's Malcolm X.
Then I say those people are justified to resort to any means necessary to bring about justice.
We try and do things and we try and inspire people, but Wright will inspire people by confrontation.
But as he is the first to acknowledge, Ian Wright's success is built on the pioneering achievements of others.
Brendan Batson, Viv Anderson, Laurie Cunningham, Cyril Regis,
Oh, what a shot!
Garth Crooks, Vince Hilaire.
Hilaire with a chance.
They're the ones who blaze the path for people like me to come through.
Right!
Wright benefited from the freedoms that other people had achieved, so he could just be himself.
I just feel that it's just the vibe. For me to say what black players brought, we haven't brought anything other than the vibe of, you know what I mean, how we are, brought the way we are. And I think that it will just come through even more. You know what I mean? Because we started with the guys at the top, Cyril and everybody, to conform and conform and conform. Now it's like we're just moving on, and we're coming in, and now we're at Vavavoom. You know what I mean?
That 1 in 4 Premiership players is black attests to their advance since the days of Arthur Wharton. Viv Anderson debuted for England in 1978. Paul Ince captained his country 15 years later. And in 2002, black England players were in a majority. The momentous day when England is represented by an all-black team draws ever nearer.
In 40 minutes, a profile of George Best made at the top of his game. Before that, how money and fame have transformed footballers' lives. After news of how you can vote for the best black British footballer of all time. Stay with us.